Never have imagined that my homeschool room would look like this as I was dismantling it because I'm at the end of my homeschool journey and I will no longer be homeschooling this year. I would not have imagined this phase of homeschooling. I had many other iterations of homeschooling that I'm sure you're experiencing right now and might be similar to my experience. Hi, homeschool moms. I'm Teresa Wiedrich, the homeschool life coach at capturingthecharmedlife.com, and I'm here to help you reimagine your homeschool for your upcoming homeschool year. This isn't the way that I thought my homeschool room would turn out. I think I thought it would always be a homeschool room and we would always homeschool. I don't know whose kids we'd be homeschooling because it turns out kids grow up. Yeah, we'll talk about that another time. But if you're actually hanging out with me, I'm going to guess you're presently homeschooling. Your kids aren't all grown up yet, unless perhaps you're wistful just like me and you want to remember back what it was like. So welcome. Whoever you are and whatever scenario you're in your homeschool life, welcome. So I'm here to help you reimagine your homeschool life. And one of the things I do as a homeschool life coach is offer you different opportunities to change up how things are going in your homeschool life. So before I dive in, let me share with you about the Reimagine Your Homeschool course and the group coaching program that I offer. So Reimagine Your Homeschool. What does that conjure up for you? When you think about your past homeschool years, what do you think you wanted to keep from your homeschool year? And what did you not want to keep? What was the energy that you didn't want from your homeschool year last year? What were the things that you learned about you or your homeschool kids that helped to inform how you're going to do this upcoming homeschool year differently? So this Reimagine Your Homeschool group coaching program is specifically designed for homeschool moms who they don't want to feel uncertain that what they're doing is the right thing for their kids or for them. They no longer want to struggle with stress and overwhelm. They're looking for a little guidance and support. And just so you know, I'm the kind of life coach that says, it's not about me giving you the advice from my homeschool experience, even though I've homeschooled my 4 kids and my youngest is heading into high school and my oldest is finishing her college years. How old am I? And I'm almost 50. And then I've got another kiddo that's graduated her college program, a third kiddo that's heading into college. And that's where I've been at. That's been my experience. And I've had so many iterations of my homeschool throughout the years, as you can imagine. I'm sure that if you've been doing this for more than a few months, maybe a couple of years, you also know what it's like to change how you do homeschooling. And it's not just because you decide there's a method that seems better. It's not because you've chosen a curriculum that you think this is the best one. It's not because you finally got a handle on getting a morning routine or figuring out how to do the right, all the things. Whatever elements of a homeschool you think might be the ideal ones until you realize they're not. You've probably had those iterations and changes in your homeschool family life, just like I have. And so I know that who I am, what my experience is, certainly informs how I engage you. But I also know that you getting really clear on what your challenges are and how to transform those challenges into what I call your charms. If you can learn how to transform your challenges into your charms, then you are reimagining your homeschool. So what are the things that you learned from your last year that you want to grow into or shift in your upcoming homeschool year? How do you want to reimagine your upcoming homeschool year? So in my experience with about year 2 to year 5, year 7 homeschool year mamas, I have noticed there are typically 3 areas that homeschool moms are challenged by. And I personally have been here, done this, experienced this as well. But I'm listening to other homeschool moms all the time, other people that are doing various forms of homeschooling, unschooling, self-directed education, literally every method, that's known to the homeschool world. I work with everybody from every background all over the world. It's a pretty cool job. But what I've learned is that there's 3 things that typically parents get a little confounded by One is their big emotions, how they address their, whether it's their frustration with their kids or how they manage their overwhelm, if they feel stressed, what they do about that, whether they doubt what they're doing, whether they feel good enough. There's so many possible experiences or feelings that you have that are influencing your homeschool satisfaction. And whatever iteration it is, it's something. And it's usually some big emotion that we feel is interfering with our sense of success, like we're really succeeding in our own eyes. Not because somebody else has decided that they think we need to do certain things, although sometimes we have to deal with our internal sense of, am I doing what I'm doing because I'm trying to make other people happy, building stronger internal boundaries. But mostly I notice that it is us dealing with our big emotions is one of the most challenging things that we experience as we're homeschooling in about year 2 to year 7. And yes, if you identify with this and you say, I'm like year 11 and I'm still dealing with that, yeah, girlfriend, I know a lot of moms are. This is a human experience to be challenged by big emotions. It's called mothering. And having to deal with stuff in here so that you can be fully present here with your kids. And so that's the first thing that I notice, is that learning to deal with your big emotions is one of the biggest challenges. The second one is getting rid of some unhelpful schooled mindsets that we've had along the way. Which ones, you ask? Well, which ones do you think I'm referring to? Whichever ones you're experiencing in your homeschool, the ones where in the back of your head, like, is this an unrealistic expectation of how I'm going to engage in my homeschool? Is it unrealistic for me to want to have like a 9 to 3 routine? The answer is yes. But I've done it, and that's why I know. But maybe there's a child that wants it, because I had that too. And then there's the other kids that definitely don't. And then how do you make that happen? Because you want to have some sort of free-flowing, consistent routine for everybody, so everybody knows what's going to happen. How do you incorporate one child doing one way and then a few other kids doing it another way? Well, what about those unhelpful schooled mindsets that say that you need to adhere to a certain learning outcome for the year for your child at a certain grade or an age? What about unhelpful schooled mindsets that say that your kids need to be socializing with the same aged kids? I sure hope that by this point in your homeschool, you feel at ease with the idea that your children actually have an incredible social opportunity to learn and to grow and to become more them and to learn how to be with other people. I think that being connected with your child is one of the most profound benefits to homeschooling. That attachment is the basis for everything good. And that's not something you get in school, unless your mother's a teacher, maybe. So what are some of the unhelpful schooled mindsets that you've brought in? You can actually check my website, capturingthecharmedlife.com, type into the search bar deschool, and I have written an entire series of articles on how to deschool, or what do homeschool families want to deschool from. And I try to create a succinct list of all the different things that other people have wanted to deschool from. There are many there. I have named about 4 here. I've got at least a few dozen in some of those articles. But I'll bet if you were to sit down with your own journal and write all the unhelpful schooled mindsets that you've brought from your conventional schooled perspective into your homeschool, that actually you would be aware how many mindsets there were. And if you're not personally dealing with your internal space and trying to challenge yourself in thinking differently about what an education is in the home, I'm sure you have someone in your world that is trying to reinforce that the school approach is the right way to educate your child. And sometimes we can create mental essays to address those things and say, you know what, it's okay, we don't have to worry about that. But Then we have family members that are asking because they're concerned, or sometimes they're not concerned, but mostly they're concerned and they want to make sure that your children are being served well. And they're just uncomfortable with being out of the box. And you are learning to be outside of the box. So maybe grab a journal, grab a pen, write down the things that you know. These are unhelpful mindsets that you get from your schooled environment, and perhaps how they have been contributing to your homeschool in the past year. The third challenge that I see the year 2 to year 7 homeschool moms typically experience is this. So we've talked about big emotions and we've talked about deschooling. And the third one is trying to lean into child-led learning and trust your child. There is certain ways or practices that you can incorporate into your homeschool year that will actually help you lean out of doing things conventionally. So you may be very conscious of the different mindsets that are not helpful to you, but you may not know how to do them, to actually address them. And I do have a few tools that actually help you to move in or lean into child-led learning. And why would I encourage that? Here's why in a nutshell. You have this amazing freedom to homeschool. You have this amazing freedom to create an education for your kids in your home. And me and many others, we have decided that yes, we have that freedom, but we don't take it. We do things the way that we understood were the right way of educating your child. We don't focus on the child that's right in front of us, the one that actually is your child. As many kids as you have, that's how many kids you're homeschooling. And those are the people that are going to grow up to become who they were meant to be if you're going to help participate in that process. And not just try to create a cookie cutter of a homeschool that serves the general homeschool concept. Like, we can take the kids out of the school and say, we know that that's not the best choice for our child, and then bring them home and make them do homeschool the way everybody else is homeschooling. Well, you have specific kids in your home and they're the only kids on this planet. No one has those kids. You are the only person on this planet, and you too, or whatever number it is, you and your child are the only people in your homeschool. So it's that child that you want to home educate. Who is that child? What do they tell you about themselves, whether it's with words or with their natural tendencies? How do they learn? What do they like to do? What do they not like to do? When we pay attention to who the child is, we can allow for more trust and more individualization of how we're approaching things. Our actual activities, the things that we choose to do, the things that we choose to buy, the activities that we choose to drive our kids to. We look at all of those things and we say, does it really serve me and my child? And part of that child-led learning is trusting that you don't know everything. This child is not done. They cannot tell you everything about themselves. You probably can tell yourself a little bit more about that child than that child until about a certain age. And that information is not information that a teacher has. It's not an information that anybody has except for you. And yet that child is also not complete. And really, none of us will be. We're all on this growth trajectory. All of us, you and your child. And you're going to lean in to trusting that whoever this child is the one that I'm supposed to be educating. How do I educate them? Well, let's look and observe. How should I educate them? Who are they? What are they here for? We don't get an end book or a book of complete, this is what my child will do at every step of their journey in their life and what they should do after they've graduated high school or what they should do when they're 75. We don't get that kind of detail, but we do get some little hints about what they aren't and who they are and what they love to do. And I think we should just fully engage that and help them start their lives intentionally really early on. And if we want to do that, if we want to lean into that, then we really do need to look at the child that's right there in front of us and take hints from the child that's right there so they can live their lives on purpose, just like you want for you and you want for your child. So how does that feel? Those three elements, learning to address your big emotions, learning to de-school your unhelpful schooled mindsets, and learning how to lean in or trust your child so you allow for child-led learning. Those three elements are three elements that I discuss in the Reimagine Your Homeschool group coaching program. Now, I wanted to share with you a little bit about my story because I have spent the last few years formally coaching homeschool moms, and either in a life coaching realm or in a homeschool mentoring realm. The two overlap every single time. Sometimes I am speaking about some homeschool concept and I discover that it's not really about homeschooling. The challenge we're dealing with is not really about homeschooling. It's actually about mothering, or it's about your personal identity, or it's about boundary issues, or so many possibilities here, knowing how to deal with overwhelm. But I have spent so much time with other, mostly women, talking through various things that I've come to understand that these are very common experiences. First of all, they're common. You're not exceptional if any of these are your challenges. Like literally, you say the words, I yell at my kids every day. Yep, I hear that a lot. Or I hear, I just don't want to tell anybody this because everybody keeps telling me if you're questioning your homeschool choice and you just put them into school, but I actually am not sure I'm doing this good enough and if it's right for my kids. But I don't want to say that out loud because I don't know that the other version isn't the best choice either. Anything that you could say through this screen that these are my deep-seated doubts or concerns, someone said to me, and I've heard it so often that I know now you are not alone in however you're experiencing your life right now. But I have learned a few things over the last few years, but certainly my personal experience has informed me. And for your knowledge, almost none of the things that I speak to or the things that I've learned about are things that I got in the beginning. I didn't understand this stuff. I learned all of this stuff the hard way too, or alongside a therapist or a coach or a really great book or a friend, something like that. And a lot of the things that I've learned the hard way. You can too. You don't have to join me in group coaching. You can do it the hard way. Most of us do. Or if you want someone to walk alongside you and help you get fresh perspective, or just be able to create a space, as I keep hearing a lot of other homeschool moms speak to me lately, when they're coaching with me, they're like, there's a space that I've created with you to sit and sift through things that are going on up here so I can clarify stuff here and get a plan to address it out there with the kids. And it was my experience too, doing it the hard way. I've been there. I wrote a book called Homeschool Mama Self-Care, Nurturing the Nurturer, when in 2019, summer of 2019, in my fruit orchard with my chickens pecking at my red toenails and just tapped away, because I really believed that, in every writer writes because they write for themselves, and I wrote for myself and I wrote for other people how I dealt with overwhelm. Because that was my experience within 3-4 years of my homeschool, as I felt overwhelmed. And I wrote a book called Homeschool Mama Self-Care, Nurturing the Nurturer. That book started everything that I began to do online. So I felt overwhelmed. I did not feel like I knew how to relate to each of my kids' unique needs. Certainly was trying. I was trying very hard, actually, for my own reasons. And I was fumbling through various curriculum and different methods like everyone does. And I have, as I showed you in the background, all of that, those books and resources and things. Now I'm selling them because I'm now at the end of my homeschool years. But I want to reinforce that my homeschool story and the things that I've learned, they were not a straight arrow. No, they were not. I have had to learn many, many things. Trial and error, discovered valuable lessons over the years, and that has helped me create a meaningful, on-purpose life and a meaningful, individualized education for each of my kids. And I feel at ease with their choices, and I look at how they're approaching things in their various ways, and I go, that makes sense, because I see who they were way back when, and I go, there they are doing the thing. That makes sense, hindsight. And also, how can I help them right now so that they can do their life on purpose right now? That's always the goal. It never ends, that mothering thing. But at the same time, did I do the right things by them? One, no, because I'm a mother, and so I make mistakes. I'm on a growth trajectory too. If I could turn back time and change things, absolutely would. But as Maya Angelou says, you do what you know to do until you know better. And every mother's experience is that you learn what you need to learn, and then you incorporate that and you build that in. And I see where they're at now and where they were then, and I say, yeah, those are intentional paths, and I helped to fuel that and nurture that. But mostly I got out of the way and allowed for trust so that they could actually really become or do what they're doing right now. I've told many people this, but I think it serves to speak this, that I created a website in my first 6 months of homeschooling called Capturing the Charmed Life. So really clear what my intentions were behind my homeschool journey. It was to capture those picture perfect moments. And the reality was obviously different, because although I have absolutely loved my homeschool years, there were certain days or seasons or moments that I would delete in a heartbeat, and it wasn't how I thought it would be. And yet it all served a greater purpose, as it always does. I remember wrestling with big emotions, struggling to find the right approach to my homeschool. Definitely sometimes felt like a fish out of water, especially in the beginning when I didn't have support and when I didn't really know anybody in the community when I began homeschooling. And then to top it off, we traveled a lot for 7 years of our homeschool. But I have learned, and I know it's hindsight, and you might be right in the thick of all this stuff, but I have learned that if you want to figure out how to be confident and not to feel uncertain of what you're doing, you can. It can be done. It doesn't have to be you just continuing to struggle. You can actually reimagine your homeschool life and live in confidence, clarity even, of what you're intending towards your homeschool kids. So through the Reimagine Your Homeschool course, I'm going to be by your side or on Zoom with you and guiding you every step of the way, so you'll gain more confidence in your choice, gain more clarity in your intentions, your daily intentions, your yearly intentions. Embrace the vision that you've wanted for your homeschool that actually resonates with you, that feels like it's true to you, not true to me. Not you becoming what I did or incorporating things the way that I did, but you actually doing it in a way that feels like it resonates with what is true for you and your kids. And I just love that. It's kind of like a fun puzzle piece, actually, helping other homeschool families figure out, how are they going to do this thing? Like, what is true for them? What's getting in their way from really seeing what the best thing is for them right now? I love that. So we'll do it over the course of 8 weeks. We'll dive into various topics, which you can find down below in the curriculum there. Or if this is on YouTube, you can always check it out in the link that you'll find down below. You're going to, clarify why you're doing what you're doing, create a realistic homeschool plan to address the actual challenges that you have, and I'll help you embrace imperfection. Yep. I will. I have learned to embrace imperfection. That I showed you right off the top of this video. The background of what this room is, which was definitely not pre-planned, that is me knowing how to embrace imperfection. And it is. Life is perfectly imperfect. So is your homeschool, and yet it's perfectly imperfect. Now, I know, or I wonder if I know what you're thinking, that you've maybe got a million questions and you're not exactly sure where to start, but you just throw any comments, questions at me down below. You're welcome to send me an email at teresawiedrick@outlook.com. That's Teresa. Wiedrick is Wiedrick @outlook.com, and ask me whatever questions you need. There is a way for you to engage some of the content or the things that I'm sharing independently. I offer a self-directed course where you can do the work and the application, do some journaling, do some mental sifting. But I know that your homeschool life means you probably have kids around, and it is hard to find time to do that. And also having a guide to ask you questions about your thoughts and help you clarify what's in there, I have learned is more effective than doing the self-directed course. But certainly something is better than just nothing and trying to figure out how to do it by yourself. Whether you choose the self-directed course, or whether you choose to do a group coaching program, or whether you choose to do a one-on-one program just with me, you're going to receive a downloadable journaling workbook to help you clarify your insights and reflections throughout our 8-week or 8-session journey. It doesn't always have to be consecutive. If we're doing a one-on-one session, or we've got more than 2 people that are willing to be more flexible on the times, it doesn't have to be every week for 8 weeks. It could be every couple weeks for 16 weeks. So I have poured my heart and my soul into all of these different programs, and I clarify them as time goes by. This was the very first thing that I offered, and I offered it in a different way. How to Homeschool 101 way back in 2020, when there was some, more people homeschooling. And so I've actually shifted things. I change things every year. When I offer a group coaching program, I update it. I check to see, is this the fullness of what I can offer and share with you? And I believe that this is an opportunity for transformation. It's not just about getting information and feeling a little bit more overwhelmed with all the things that you already have to do, but it's actually going to transform how you experience your homeschool. It certainly is going to. If you do, your kids are going to feel transformed too. They just don't know that word, and they probably not going to say that word, but it's going to feel like, whoa, something's been lifted off, or okay, clarity, confidence. It's the words I choose because I think that because it is actually my experience with other homeschool moms, it certainly was my experience with mine. And so I want to share with you a few of the moms that I've worked with over the course of time, what they've shared. Carla is a homeschool mom of 2, and she shared with me that she wanted to share with you that Teresa is the real deal, an experienced homeschool mom who's been there, done that, and can help others get out of overwhelm. Her ability to hold space for silence and difficult feelings makes her no small talk approach so effective. I trust her retreat, her resources, and her Ask Me Anything meetings have served me tremendously. I'm so glad she's in my corner. Yep, it has been a delight to walk alongside Carla and really just every homeschool mom. I don't mention every homeschool mom here, but I do want to share with you a couple other things that other moms have shared. So Diane is a friend, and she's a veteran homeschool mom of 3. And she said, Teresa comes alongside to help you navigate your relationship with homeschooling, not to fix you, but to sufficiently assist you in detaching your identity from the activity so that, in fact, your homeschool activity is elevated. And Holly is a homeschool mom of 2, and she says, Teresa has been a tremendous value towards my growth in homeschooling and self-care. She's encouraging and supportive in my growth in homeschooling, and she's encouraging and supportive of all that I long to pursue. I'm so grateful that I have her to walk alongside me in this journey. I can share with you so many other stories, and you will actually see them on the Reimagine Your Homeschool mini course page. If you haven't already accessed the mini course, it's free. You're welcome to just check it out and see how I show up and some of the things that I address. It's just a teeny tiny snapshot of what I offer. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask me whatever questions you'd like. I do want to say final thoughts. If you're looking to reimagine your upcoming homeschool year, if you want to clarify your intentions and really, I'd say rejuvenate your confidence or your clarity, get your clarity for your homeschool vision and just feel like, yeah, you're doing this on purpose. It feels like you're going to do it good enough. You're serving your kids and you're serving yourself. Then join me and let's get started with it. So if you need to ask me any more questions, if you're curious about anything more, remember, you can always email me at teresawiedrick@outlook.com. We'll talk to you soon.